So something I said last week really made me think back on how I used to live and how crazy it is that I can say that I truly am um, content in where I am right now. So most of my close friends are like in a relationship, engaged, already married, already have kids. There's two of my friends that I go to Bible study with, or that we have our own little Bible study group. They're married, they have 2 kids, 3 kids, super cute, love it. Olivia's getting married. That's exciting. And one of my other friends, she just got engaged, and I have 2 other friends that are engaged, and then another one of my friends, she's like in a relationship, like really good, steady, and last week I was at Bible study with Kira and Lindsay, and I was like, wow, you guys, this is so cute, but I'm so glad I don't have kids. I'm so glad I'm not married. And for Olivia, I'm so glad I'm not planning a wedding. Like, I am just so secure in where I'm at. And let me tell you why that's crazy. So, my entire life, basically, like since early elementary school, I've always liked boys, and I've always wanted attention from boys, always like attention seeking, or like, ooh, I have a crush on you, or like, oh, why don't you like me? I like you. Like, I'm crazy. And so that was all the way from elementary up until like pretty much now. But it got riskier, it got worse in high school when, oh wow, this kid actually does like me back. Oh no, he just wants to get in my pants. Okay. And then, because I was always like, I'm waiting till marriage. I'm waiting till marriage. I love Jesus. And then they're like, oh yeah, that's okay. And then when we actually like start dating, they're like, oh, this is not good. So like, oh, sorry, I was at a party, kissed another girl, see ya. Or this other kid going into my senior year of high school, horrible. He was like my first real boyfriend. And I was like, and he's like, I can't love you unless we have that physical connection. Like, girls, if you hear that, run the other direction. It is not worth it, because I was like, oh, but I really like him. And then so lost my virginity, and still he such an insecure guy. Oh, anyway. And then at that point I was like, well, I lost my virginity, so on to the next guy. And then I met my long-term boyfriend, and he's a nice guy, but also if you're unequally yoked, if I was still a lukewarm Christian anyway, but if you're like, oh, I want to lead him to Jesus, but you're not strong in Jesus and he doesn't care, like, only Jesus can change people. Just saying. So that didn't work out, and then when we broke up, I was like, okay, back to Tinder again. Okay, back to hooking up with random people again. So I would use Tinder, Twitter. I would like talk to people that I used to know from high school, like, oh, look at how different I am now. And that was, I guess, hookup culture that's attractive for like 2 seconds. And anyway, my cat. So then last summer my life changed, and I still wasn't I wasn't dating anybody until I was like, oh, I'll just go on Tinder just for funsies, like just for fun. Like, I wasn't gonna plan on doing anything, because the profiles can be quite hilarious. But then there was this guy, I was like, oh, he's a Christian, oh, he's so nice. And then we dated up for like 2 seconds, like a month. But he was not, like, if he's not leading you closer to Jesus into the bedroom, he wouldn't respect boundaries I had, like, oh, don't do that, like, that's not, I don't want to do that. oh, I love you so much. And then, you know, and then that ended. And then I was like, well, I'm upset. So back to Tinder. So I just went on this rampage for a really long time. And then I was like, okay, I need to stop. Olivia, you help me. You're my accountability partner. If you see Tinder on my phone, get mad at me, take it away. Or like, if you see me acting weird, acting sus, like, confront me. And she did. And I got mad at her. I was like, why is she being so rude? But it's like, I literally asked her to help me out. And so after that, I was like, okay, how do I keep from going into this routine again, going back into this cycle? And something that Nicole told me that was really like so cheesy, and I'm sure you, like, maybe if you've heard in sermons and stuff, but I haven't tried it, like, date Jesus. Like, why not? Like, revel in the divine romance he has for you, because it's just you and him, you know? And then also I was like, okay, well, I need to get rid of things that make me think about my past, or like certain experiences with certain people, or like all the fun I had with this one person. So I stopped listening to secular music, because all like the popular music nowadays is about sex, drugs, and like love songs. And then love songs make me think like, oh, I want a boyfriend. And then like going into that rabbit trail fantasy of like, oh, we could do this, or like he could take me on this date. So like no love songs, no sex songs, and no drug songs. Not fun. So I stopped listening to secular music, only worship music, and I've been more modest. I never really dressed crazy. And this is like for your own opinion. This is just like what I had to change my mindset so I could be pure in my thinking and in my ways, so I wouldn't fall back into my cycles. But not be so gross on social media. I deactivated my Twitter because that was a pretty gross one. I posted whatever I wanted on there, so that's gone. I mean, I'm sure there are screenshots, but non-existing account. I don't post on my Snapchat of like, oh, it's 2 a.m. and I'm like, you know, whatever. So I'm not so vulgar on social media anymore. And it's just like, just what leads you closer to Jesus. And you have to think of it this way, or this is how I think of it, I guess, is to be a Christian is to be like Christ. Christian is little Christ. How do we follow Christ? And Christ was sinless, so like we can't never get to that part, get to his perfection. But how can I actively be like Christ? What in my power can I do? Like, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be led into temptation. Why should I let that happen? Like, I'm stronger than that. Jesus is stronger than that. I can say no. I can turn from that kind of sexual immorality, that lifestyle, like disgustingness that I was a part of. And something that it says here, let me grab my Bible. 2 Corinthians, what was it? Or no, 1 Corinthians. Paul is talking about married people, and I think this is how, like, why I'm like so happy by myself, that I'm like finally secure, because, you know, I'm reading my Bible, I'm praying as much as I can, you know, like trying to talk to God. But it says here, I want you to be free from concern. One who is unmarried, single, is concerned about the things of the Lord, how he may please the Lord. Like, I just want to be obedient to God. Like, how can I be obedient to God? And if I'm like seeking out all these things that aren't of him, like what am I going to get from that? You know, I want the guy that God has planned for me. And if I've been seeking out like all of these bad pics with mommy issues, like, I'm just going to stop searching. Search for God. And what is it? Seek God first and everything else will follow. Don't know where that is, but that's something that my mom has always told me because she knows how boy crazy I can get. But also it says, but one who is married is concerned about the things of the world, how he may please his wife. So I don't want to worry about boys right now. And then also, because I was reading Ephesians, finally finished that Bible study. I think Christians nowadays, or how I thought of it, like, oh, well, I lost my virginity. Well, okay, I'm not gonna stop now, or like, why should I stop, you know? But we're a new creation in Christ. All the old things are, you know the verse, but here it talks about immorality. For this you know with certainty, that no immoral or impure person or covetous man who is an idolater has an inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and God. Period. So the doorway is narrow, like immorality. You know, hey, I'm just gonna seek God and be happy in his joy. Be joyful. Joy comes in the morning. So I'm just so happy that I can say that I'm finally like, wow, my friends are engaged. Wow, my friends are moms. Like, that's so good for them. But I am gonna be happy where I am at, where God has placed me, because God has so much more than just boy problems for me. So I hope this helps a little bit on like today's culture, because hookup culture is so easy to fall into. Look at me. But God has changed me. Anyway, yeah,